Super Mario Galaxy. You've probably heard of this game. Well, I would assume so if you clicked on this video. You might have even played it when you were young and have some vague and faint memories of doing so 18 years ago. Oh god. Now, today, I'll be replaying through this game and see, once and for all, is Super Mario Galaxy actually good? Does it still hold up today? Or is it nothing but nostalgia and rose-tinted glasses? Super Mario Galaxy begins with a very simple hook, as do most games in the Mario franchise. As Mario is invited to visit Peach to celebrate the Star Festival...
Oh no! What's going on? Of course it's Bowser, it's always Bowser.
Who would have seen it coming? Bowser is kidnapping Peach again and we must intervene. So, after bullying a Toad for a few minutes, and then limit testing to see if I can get out of bounds, we finally reach the princess and a UFO levitates the castle? Yeah, I got no clue what's going on and how Bowser got that thing. However, as a brave and horny plumber, Mario jumps on the castle bridge and he straight up dies. Cue the credits. Rather than dying, we are sent on this small peaceful planet called the Gate. There, we catch a few rabbits before meeting our new crush. Then, exposition dump. Rosalina explains us that Bowser drained power from their ship, the Observatory, and brought Peach to the center of the universe, where he plans to destroy the universe and create his own. To reach the center of the universe, we must find power stars to power up the Observatory. This is, without a doubt, a very simple hook, but it certainly works and is quick at propelling us straight into the gameplay and the world with a clear motive and goal. The observatory is then split in 6 domes: the terrace, the fountain, the kitchen, the bedroom, the engine room, and the garden. Each dome contains a few galaxies and has its identity. You can really imagine each of them actually serving a purpose on the ship. Now, for the main plot, this is pretty much as deep as it gets. From this point, we travel from galaxy to galaxy, collecting power stars with the goal of powering up the observatory so that it can get us to the center of the universe, where Bowser keeps Peach. We meet Bowser and Bowser Jr. from time to time, and we see repercussions of their actions on some galaxies, but overall, this is the main plot of the game. For a Mario game and a platformer, I'll say it is assuredly good enough, and I have no issue with it. Even though we could have seen a different main antagonist instead of recycling the Bowser kidnapping Peach plot that we have seen time and time again, outside of the recycling, the Power Stars explanation and concept is quite original. It explains everything we do going forward and I like it. We even see some enemies using these Power Stars and we can observe firsthand what they can do. You know the rule of show don't tell? Well, they do show you. Very early on in the game, you fight this very large construct, powered by one of these Power Stars. It is introduced with this low-angle shot, making his impressive size feel even more grandiose. This is one of many examples where you face up against creatures or enemies using Power Stars. Instead of simply acting as collectibles, it adds a bit of depth on the why we are chasing them and taking them. You see them acting as strong sources of pure power that you should fear. Well, I mean, not that Mario can feel fear, this guy does not care. From there, the progression is fairly satisfying. You have multiple domes on the observatory, each containing unique galaxies, including one boss galaxy, which you unlock once you have enough stars. In these boss galaxies, we either fight Bowser or Bowser Jr. and one of their inventions, and then we unlock the next dome after doing so. Then you can unlock one little cutie hungry Luma per dome, which gives you access to an additional galaxy per dome, and these guys are the cutest. The progression is quite addictive. The galaxies being split between hub galaxies with 3 or more stars and one-time galaxies with a singular star. You can choose to either target a single big galaxy and spend maybe an hour fully completing it, or you can choose to tackle smaller ones for a quick dopamine hit. However, the most satisfying part of the progression does not come from the frequent hormonal hit of collecting stars. Rather, it comes from something more subtle. As you slowly complete galaxies and unlock domes, the main hub area, the observatory, starts lighting up more and more. Early on, everything is covered in darkness. It feels empty and almost scary, as if entering an abandoned warehouse. It is still grandiose and you can imagine what it used to look like, but you feel the sadness and the emptiness waiting on you. You feel the need to restore this relic of wonder to what it used to look like. Then, in the later stages of the game, as the observatory is lighting up, you feel the intensity and agitation from all the lights being on, all the Lumas wandering around and hanging out. The observatory feels alive and swarming you with energy and activity, pushing you to move forward and making you anticipate your final mission and the end of the game. You look around and remember what it used to be, how it used to look before you collected all those stars, how sad it was, and rejoice at noticing the impact you actually had. If it wasn't enough, once you unlock the engine room, the first to last dome, a countdown appears in the middle of the spawn point, showing you the number of stars left to collect before being able to launch the final mission to save Peach and to do what you were first tasked to do. Then, as you collect them and return to the observatory, you see this number go down and closer to 0, and my hormones cannot take it. Yes, make me feel good. This progression system, from quantitative with the countdown and the dome unlocking system to the qualitative side with the environment changes of the observatory, feels amazing to play through and extremely rewarding. It entices you to keep playing, to collect just one more star, unlock just one more dome, give me just one more hit and I'll be happy. Now comes the actual meat of this review, the levels and the controls. How the game actually feels to play. Since I'll have quite a bit to say about level design, let's start with controls. Now I have to specify. I know there is a version of the game on the Nintendo Switch, which they only sold for a limited time and which you had to buy in a bundle of 3 games, and yeah, no, I didn't buy it. So I'll be replaying the game through the Wii, using my good old enemy friend, the Wii remote, how it was supposed to be played. The question stands, however, do the controls still hold up today, or are they infuriating to use? Come on, bro. Now just do all of them, all of the directions. You wanna be sideways? Let's go back to side. No, I don't. No! Can I just jump? You know, Mario, you're really the dumbest person I've ever met. You know me, you know I'm going, what? Oh, it's, oh, I forgot. Ow. I did not see that laser. No, Mario, come on. Mario, that's not, that's not the input I'm putting in. Why? Why? That was... Yeah, I'll cut it short. The controls stink. While it certainly is not as bad as I originally thought it'd be, and they really do not make the game unplayable by any means, my good friend the Wii Remote does bring its moments of frustration. Especially when trying to collect purple coins underwater and the camera does not want to cooperate and Mario does not want to swim to pick up the coin and I cannot turn, and why can you not turn and pick up the coin? It's right there, pick up the coin. Your mama, you'll ask me if you don't pick up the dang coin. As I was saying, some moments of slight frustration. The controls in themselves are fairly simple. You have a jump button, which can be combined with another input to make a long jump or a high jump. And you can spin by shaking the Wii remote. The spin mechanic makes the platforming very forgiving. Very often you will completely miss a jump, but by spinning the remote you'll be able to change your momentum and gain some height, allowing you to save your misstep. The spin indubitably allows you to be carefree with your jumps and platforming, and to feel much better at the game than you really are. While it makes everything a lot easier, it makes it more fun and accessible. Therefore, I am all for it. Now, the clunky moments mostly come from the camera acting weird and sometimes refusing to rotate, or the many underwater sections, which are most often than not very painful. Overall, the controls are fine, but it does feel like you are playing an 18-year-old game whenever it comes to using the camera. As for movement, while it is not revolutionary in any way, it is enough and is fun to use to traverse the galaxies. It allows creativity and freedom in your pathing. Outside of the base controls, the game introduces many other mechanics. This is where Mario games, and especially this one, truly shine. While the base mechanics are straightforward, summarizing as 3 types of jump and a magical spin altering momentum, the game introduces a lot of new mechanics grandly altering how you traverse the different galaxies. From power-ups which can make Mario become a bee and have flying capabilities, or becoming a spring bouncing everywhere, or the Boo Mushroom turning Mario into a very Italian spooky ghost with a commanding mustache and gaining the ability to phase through walls, to objects such as this rolling ball which requires you to use motion controls to move around the levels as you have to carefully control the ball's momentum, and this blowing bubble which turns the game in 2D, and these pole stars which you use to swing around, or these spiderweb cocoons, and there is a lot. And this is only ways of altering your movement and your traversal, not the multiple different ways that the game has you interact with the environment. The platforming feels fresh and fun as you progress through the game, and I often found myself wishing levels were actually longer or using more of a certain mechanic or idea. For example, the game introduces this interesting mechanic where the floor and walls temporarily disappear from existence, and only uses it for 2 levels out of 120. As for straight platforming, very often you can take a simple path with small jumps, which is very easy, or you can choose to jump over a larger gap or wall jump or any other combination of the movement tools to skip a section of the level. This freedom in how you tackle the levels can increase or decrease the difficulty, and can make it feel extremely satisfying. Alright, now let's tackle the levels in themselves, the galaxies. There are 3 main types of levels. Firstly, there are what I will refer to as base levels, which are easily accessible and which you play through initially. These base levels are either contained in hub galaxies, which are galaxies with an overarching theme which is recurring and in which you complete multiple levels, or in one-star galaxies which contain a singular level and star. Then you have secret levels, which are accessible through hungry Lumas or other hidden means contained in the base levels. Finally, you have comets, which affect hub galaxies by either making you replay another level with an additional modifier such as limited time or enemies moving faster or you having only 1 HP, or playing through a new level with the same overarching theme and environment as the hub galaxy. In all these levels you'll do a bit of exploring and a lot of platforming, as the majority of levels are mostly linear with a clear path to follow to reach the star. If you're interested in my review of every galaxy individually, I have another video where I go more in depth and give a specific rating to every single one of them. However, for the purpose of this review, I'll stay more surface level and speak broadly of the different levels. Overall, they undoubtedly vary in quality and originality. However, for the most part, Super Mario Galaxy is a goldmine of creativity. You go from galaxies with simpler themes, such as these tropical galaxies or these desert or water galaxies, to traditional Mario themes with this galaxy exploring the Luigi's Mansion aesthetic or the many Bowser's Castle themed galaxies. Then you explore galaxies with new themes, such as this Bee Kingdom, which introduces you to the Bee Queen and her guard, and has you becoming a bee, as well as let's keep moving and not tell Peach about that. Some of my favorite themes include the Battle Rock Galaxy and the Dreadnought Galaxy, which present impressive reinforced constructs or bases with heavy military vibes, or the Boy Base Galaxy with this unique tall tower which is very fun to climb. And I cannot not talk about the Space Junk Galaxy, which is this empty void of sadness and remains floating around. Or the Freeze Flame Galaxy, which presents the beauty in the dichotomy of fire and ice. There are just so many ideas thrown in this game, but the best thing is that it does not feel forced or out of place. Due to the nature of the game having you explore planets and unknown galaxies, it all makes sense. It feels normal, while still surprising and interesting to see this Bee Kingdom or this Toy Galaxy or this galaxy made of floating sugary food. It makes sense and achieves the impressive task of keeping you immersed in the universe and the game as you are jumping from a Pop-Tart to a cake and 5 minutes later going through a volcano or blowing up a military base. The exploration part of the levels is fairly lackluster, but the game has other ways to make you revisit hub galaxies and their environments. There are Purple Queen's Comet, which, while it is a 50-50 on whether you'll get a painful experience or a fun one on these stars, the good ones make you revisit the worlds in a different way, allowing you to explore them slightly further. Also, after rescuing Luigi from a spooky mansion, our loyal brother will go on his own to find more stars, sending you a letter once in a while as he got stuck in some galaxy somehow. Then, using the attached picture, we explore the galaxy to find and rescue him. I wish there were more of these Luigi stars, as they offer this sense and need of exploration that fits hand in hand with the game, but we will still take and enjoy the few of them, which I think are 3 if I'm not mistaken. For the vast majority of levels, the star will simply be laying around, floating on a planet and awaiting someone to collect it. However, some levels require a boss fight to lay our hands on the coveted treasure. Boss fights are, for the most part, pretty bad. Our first fight was against this baby piranha boss, and you might tell this guy looks kinda sick and is huge. Surely you used some epic way of fighting it to bring it down, right? Yeah, we ran away and we used our spin a few times. Epic! It's even better the second time we do it, and the third time we do it. Bosses are recycled left and right in this game, and have simple or inexistent patterns. While I have to give the seal of fun boss to 2 of them, being King Caliente and Bouldergeist, which have actual attack patterns and personality, as well as using interesting mechanics unique to the boss, the other ones are run, spin, without much thought. Or the worst ones, these mole bosses which come back again and again and again, and which you defeat by ground pounding near or on top of them, which is not enjoyable by any means. Or the 3 Bowser fights, which are almost identical, and feel as if they designed the last fight first, and then dumbed it down twice to design the 2 others. Bosses are not this game's strength, as they assume uniqueness and fun to imply difficulty, which does not have to be true. In short, the gameplay is quite easy and forgiving, but for the most part captivating and enjoyable, jumping around as a plumber on steroids who doesn't feel pain, using the freedom available in your choice of path to reach the stars, exploring these unique and beautiful environments with varied themes and visuals is fresh for most of the game. While some levels are repetitive or feel like filler levels, the majority offers a unique gameplay experience, and I found myself craving for more. The controls surprisingly hold up pretty well for a game that is 18 years old, with camera interactions sometimes being a bit annoying, but not affecting the enjoyment of the game. Let's talk about the music and the ambience of the game. The music is crazy good. I am no music expert, but I have listening capabilities and it's good. Not only are most soundtrack songs that are just good on their own and should be added to your playlist, but they also work jointly with the visuals and environments to reinforce the ambience of the game, which is why I grouped these sections together. Yeah, I'm pretty smart. I thought about all that. When you're climbing up a tower, you have an invigorating epic soundtrack. When you're flying through the sky, you have this ensemble of strings and woodwinds filling you with a sense of wonder. When you're traversing an empty void, you have this sad song and you start crying and you wonder if you ever were happy and if all these emotions are nothing but nostalgia for a time when you didn't know and you didn't have to know, and you start thinking about what you did wrong and how much you wish you could go back to a simpler time and start all over again, discover it all before it became a chasm of despair. So, coming back to the music, it's good, and it grandly enhances the ambience of the galaxies. However, I do have one critique towards the music. There are some points where the choice of music is too formulaic. There are a couple songs which are token suspenseful soundtrack or token space vibe, and they come back way too often, even when they don't really fit the moment. For example, when going through Melty Molten Galaxy, this lava-themed galaxy with an epic soundtrack, I found myself head banging while traversing the challenges and epicness of the level, before getting to the climax of the first star. As I stepped foot on this rock thing, the tower started to crumble. Instead of continuing with the epic soundtrack as I would have climbed this tower, the music changes for token suspenseful music, and it made the experience a lot less interesting and fresh. When the same song plays on every suspenseful moment, it makes the experience feel repetitive, even though it was not so much. Overall, the choice of music fits well and is great, but I did have to mention some of these moments where some songs are used over another for no reason. Now, while a strong component of the ambience is the music, it is not the only thing working towards a great product. The environmental decisions greatly reinforce this aspect of the game. Camera shots, such as the one I previously talked about, to reinforce the imposing size of constructs, environment backgrounds such as large lava planets to make you feel smaller in comparison, to sometimes do the opposite and present you with an empty background to fit the theme and desired ambience of the galaxy. A small thing they often do throughout the game, and which I like a lot, is the teasing of the stars. It is often used in darker and empty galaxies, where the light of the stars shines in the horizon and acts as your sole beacon in the surrounding darkness and emptiness. Overall, the ambience of the game is very unique. The game has a serious tone hidden under the bright colors of some galaxies and the Mario franchise as a whole. Alright, let's talk lore. I describe lore as anything going on in the background of the game, anything that is not the main plot. Most of the game's lore is accessible through the library, a small room on the observatory where Rosalina reads stories to Lumas. Before going over what is told over there, a slight stop at side plots. This stop will be very brief as the game does not have much side storylines to follow. However, a notable one is the Goopy the Orca storyline. As we traverse the universe and explore the galaxies, Goopy the Orca is a recurring character, never welcomed by the galaxy's residents. They are looking for a place to live in, a lake, or truthfully, any water. we find ourselves kicking them out of lake after lake after lake as they become more and more sad and desperate, before finally being accepted in Peach's castle at the very end of the game. I was so happy for my little guy. Otherwise, we have some recurring characters, but not really any other side story. Coming back to the real lore of the game, to the library. In the library, Rosalina tells her heartbreaking story as she went through the loss of her mother and found her new family in nurturing the Lumas as they were looking for their own mother who went missing. Now, I ain't no Super Mario Galaxy lore expert, and the story seems to be open to some interpretation, but it appears to imply some sort of eternal cycle of life, as the beginning of Rosalina's story has her finding a Luma in a crashed spaceship, which is then shown again at the ending of the game, seemingly indicating that the mother they were looking for and waiting for had always been Rosalina. The story and lore of the game is initially presented as being this light-hearted, funny thing with space and happy little stars, before coming at you with this chapter. The 7th chapter switches the tone of the game drastically, as it hits you with a pang in the heart by going over Rosalina's mother's death. At this moment, I realized that this bright, positive game hides a lot more, suddenly making sense of Space Junk Galaxy and similar, sadder ones. This game is not about the happy stroll through space of a horny plumber wearing a bee costume. It's about accepting death and the chasm that it creates in us, accepting it and allowing it to host care and love, and nurturing this space to allow these joyful, carefree moments. The game reinforces this through the Lumas, which often sacrifice themselves throughout the game to create launch stars, planets, galaxies. They do so with a smile, and you must accept their passing, as it is part of the normal cycle of things. Death is normal, passing is normal. It is the natural order of things, and you must not let the void caused by their absence be filled with anger or despair. Rather, you must embrace it and let it fill with warmth. After all of this comes an important question, the one we were originally asking. Is the game good? Is it worth playing through? Is it worth fully completing? Well, the answer to the first question is, without a doubt, yes. It's good and you should play the game if you've never experienced it. However, the answer to fully completing the game is, it depends. Could you have a better experience collecting all 120 stars over only collecting half of them? Definitely. But it is not guaranteed. You could only do 60 stars or 80 of them and get the best out of this game. all resides in your choice of which stars you do go for and which you avoid. Some levels or stars are not fun or feel uninspired. Indeed, the internal constraint of hub galaxies having 3 stars and the constraint of following the tradition of 120 total stars feels its toll on the quality of some of them. And here comes my first change, which could have vastly improved the game. Collecting all 120 stars made me discover some levels, music, and experiences which were phenomenal. Indeed, requiring only 60 stars to complete the game makes it so you have to make choices. Choose which galaxy to complete first, or which galaxy to even complete at all, or to skip. This choice makes it so that there are some levels, especially ones only unlocked towards the end of the game, which you are very likely to never experience, if only going for the main plot and a quick condensed experience. And many later levels are extremely good and offer a largely better experience than earlier one. By forcing players to choose 60 of them randomly, the game makes you play through uninspired, unfun levels to the detriment of amazing ones. This is where I would have loved a slight change. Filler, uninspired levels should not have been included. Screw traditions, we don't need 120 stars. 100 or so is enough. There are so many unique ideas and concepts in this game that stretching uninspired ones is a disrespect to the game's potential. By removing the 3 stars restriction from hub galaxies and removing the 120 stars restriction, they could have condensed the experience to only the best of the levels. Then they could have increased the stars requirement to complete the game to 80 stars or so, still leaving room for choice, but ensuring that players consume most of the unique content and experiences that the game offers. Therefore, to answer the question to should you collect all 120 stars, I would say yes, if you have time and want to experience all of the unique IDs, but no if you want the best experience. If I were to replay the game, I would skip about 30 stars or so, going straight for the better ones. Many levels were underwhelming and not memorable or satisfying to go through, and some even felt like a chore and made me really wish that I was doing something else. Sea Slide Galaxy, for example. Ultimately, Super Mario Galaxy is a solid experience and a good platformer. It has surprisingly good visuals for a 2007 game, and music and experiences worth experiencing at least once, even today. This game is full of creativity and unique ideas. While it is not perfect and could be improved in a few ways, it is close to being so. Now, some objective ratings. For the plot, the hook works and you have a motivation to keep going. But overall, it truly does nothing interesting or unique, even through the slight addition on Bowser's motivation of them wanting to raise the universe and create a new one. It is still Bad Kappa capture princess, horny plumber must rescue princess. For the plot, 5 out of 10. For the gameplay, the controls are pretty smooth and use the motion controls and the capabilities of the Wii Remote in a creative way, making good use of the tools it provides without being annoying or unenjoyable. While the camera is sometimes annoying and give the age of the game away, it is not a massive detriment to the experience. As for level designs, Super Mario Galaxy is, for the most part, a masterclass in how to make gameplay feel fresh and introduce mechanics or interactions to differentiate your platformer. For the gameplay, 9 out of 10. For the music and ambience, the game has one of the best collection of tracks from a video game, and many people still use or listen to multiple of these tracks even 18 years later. The ambience and tone of the game is light, but works wonders at making you feel the right emotions at the right time. It is a 9 out of 10 for this section as well. For the lore, storylines are absent, and the underlying lore, while deeper and more serious than expected, is still minimal. However, it has a beautiful message with a great way to deliver it. 7 out of 10. Overall, Super Mario Galaxy gets a 7.5 out of 10, and my seal of you should play this game. Thank you everyone for watching this review of Super Mario Galaxy. Stay tuned for more of these, and in the meanwhile, I wish you an excellent rest of your day, and I see you another time.